I normally don't have the time to do that. And then I can also click on the track to see if I missed something. Like this will track from, yeah, like I said, the adding. So this is relevant in this season, right? And from the earnings today list, which is usually sorted by date, so the last date in the top, and actually in TC2000 I usually go to this one to add them, this stock catalyst, and we click here, top, either that or that. Usually I do the pre-market because I usually do this in pre-market. Sometimes I also do it after hours. But the pre-market one will have both last night's and the pre-market ones. So now it's empty, and it will sort it by the top percentage move here for the gainers, and on the opposite for the losers, like and then in TC2000 I actually, like, maybe we can find some here. That's also empty. Okay. Anyhow, so let's go 26. Maybe go. Let me show you the process, because this is relevant for the earnings season. So here it would have been looking something like this. Why do it? It's like only, after hours. Okay, so this is the top one. So actually I go down to the ones I want to add. So this one's 10%. Let's say I want to add from here. Then I should start with this one because it's going to be so I want this one at the top. So I start with the lower ones, and then I add them all just manually. So I have this on another screen, and I just write it down in like here. So now I already have that, but I would put in fix, and then I would put in this one. I didn't have this, so it's going to be actually at the top, and then cool. So you see, if I would add this one, which I'm gonna probably delete, it's gonna be on the top. I think that's actually this is oil stock, right? Or maybe natural gas. No. Oh damn, that looks good. Okay, I can have that here, but normally I would want this one at the top for that day, because I thought that was the best one. Or it was just the top one in the pre-market. So anyhow, that's how I add to this one. So this one's going to be full of tickers after a while. I don't delete this one until next earnings season. And then if you were very diligent, you could go in and change the tracking value to put it from the day before. So then actually here I would have to do it this way. I go to this day, look at the close, 21.55, and then I go here, I click that, and I change this to 21.55, and then I would actually have the real consistent tracking. And you see then it went up to 22%, 60, which is the same. So that's one way to do it. I don't do that way. Sometimes actually. So the best ones. So let's go through the earnings ones because that's relevant at the moment. So for the best ones, that means a lot of volume, gapping up a lot. So we have price extension and a gap on large volume, and so showing strength, right, and interest from larger players and the whole market. Also closing at the top, like this is optimal, right? So this is the strongest stock probably from that day in all the earnings ones. This one, okay, so let me show you another list. Where is it? High volume. I thought I add, oh, it's up here. Maybe it's better. I thought I had added that. Let me move this one. Actually, I'm going to duplicate this one. Duplicate. And then I'm going to move it. And now I'm going to have to do it. Exercise here. So I go to, it's going to be at the last place. And I probably should delete a lot of these. I'm going to drag it to almost the beginning. So here, now I want to save this, save layout. Wait, I'm going to click this because it's not save layout. Okay, so this means high volume earnings winner. And the best one from here. So I go through these, look at them. So this one doesn't have enough volume for me. So I'm actually gonna try to delete that. This one, it's interesting, but the volume is really not enough yet. So I'm gonna delete that. Now again, let's get back to that thing about noise. So we only want to be in the strongest stocks, and we want to bring down the noise factor as much as possible, especially for people like me. I think for everyone, but some are better at editing out noise than others. And if maybe they just do this very same thing I'm talking about, like not letting noise get in the first place. And that deleting things like that is one way. Anyhow, deleting the lists and starting over is another way. Like if it's strong, it's gonna pop up again, right? No FOMO. I like no FOMO better than now the other one, no. Anyhow, so where are we? So let's this one, I drag it here, and then actually sometimes I do look at the prior day, and that's 9.08. I might, now I haven't done that, but I might change it in here to actually get good tracking, so I can sort for the best strength after a while, or the top strength, strength as in the percentage move. But now I only have done that for this one. So for fix, I get the point. So fix, yeah, it has enough volume. This is dollar volume, right? There's enough volume. It closing at the top, actually almost too high for me to buy it. However, it's going to be in the list for later. And these are going to be my top, like after a while, after earnings, these are going to be the ones I want to focus on, in addition to my regular ones, which I go through later. Deck, this one, it's arguably, it's not as strong as this one, cool, Coursera. It has huge volume, almost 2 trillion, or billion in US, English, Swedish we call it trillion. $1.8 billion. It's not the highest volume ever, but it's very high. So we look here, we have, this one is crazy. That's $5.6 billion. This one it's like an institutional stock, right? This move is pretty nice. It's a shoe brand, right? Oh, they own shoe brands. So it's a social stock as well, down here. with the UG or whatever, UGH and another brand. I think they also bought the old school sandal, whatever it's called, I don't remember. Anyhow, let's get back. So this one did not close at the high, but it has huge volume and it did gap out. It's strong. Like if we do current lines, which is easiest way to, oh, that's the wrong one. It's easier than using the fib. We see that it closed about 50%. So that's from the, actually that's the low. So yeah, current lines here go from the low. So I would like actually to go from here normally. But you can't do that unless you go into the intraday. Anyhow, it's above the 50%. Still above 50% if I would go from close to top. Let's delete this one. So it's strong, and also it gapped into the IPO from year start. And in my charts in TC2000, you can actually have a VWAP from start of year, which I really like, and then click show on all symbols. And I have a different color for that. And that's really important. It often coincides with the 200 SMA, which is my pink one here, broader one, with some transparency. Anyhow, this time it didn't coincide, but often it does. And it's difficult for a stock to gap over that, like it would have had to gap 23% and then continue. So like we were actually, the best case scenario is if it gaps above a 200 flat SMA, 200 SMA, but that's optimal. Gap and go. Here it's mid-range, it's like maybe a 3 or a 4, but it's still gonna be here. The volume is interesting. So I don't have to go through all of these, but this one, volume is a bit lower, and it's also not as strong. It gapped up into the IPO band here, not band, the indicator, the yellow one, as well as like just the level. So that's going to be difficult for it to just run over. This one's super strong. It's already up a lot. This is one of the winners in this, they call it leaders, but it's called winners in this cycle. It's a spin-off from GE, and should I just held it from here where I traded first time. I really love spin-offs. Anyhow, this one, pretty low ADR for me, and I can't find leverage instruments in Sweden for this one, so it's not interesting for me, unless I would have wanted to have it like an investment position. I know nothing about the brand. I see it's packaged foods, and I saw some other packaged foods stocks. Calm, for example. No, that was farm products, but anyhow, that one was really weak. So these are saved, and because of strength. United Rentals, really good owner, super strong. And this one I thought looked interesting. This one I can't find leverage instruments in Sweden, so I might trade this one actually. And I would actually, let me show you. So we can mark the high volume close. It's from, what's the guy, the trading line guy? I want to give credit. Highest volume ever is what he likes. Let me search internet. No, not internet. Internet. Twitter or X. A candle. Let's try that. Amit guy. To how to pronounce his name. Amit. Let's just try HVE. Can't find it. Let's try. Maybe it spells it differently. Let's see. I forgot his name then. Sorry, bro. He's a great trader. So, annoying that I can't remember his name. I thought his name was. No. Oh, Amit. So there's another guy, Amit's investing. But Amit, right. Okay, sorry about that. So he came up with the highest volume ever, or high volume close, I think, more in broader terms. And you can just mark the close and then use that as a pivot. Above it's good, below it's not, right? So you could have traded this one undercut and rally, or it's not really. Yeah, it does undercut. So then we just check 46671 is close, right? So let's put that in. 71. Then we can look here on the 30-minute. Next day, it undercuts the close and almost, it does come down to the low as well, which the red is, I think is the low of the previous day. And then it just rallies, right? So this is super efficient, and I actually stopped trading other ways in earnings season after realizing now probably this is gonna stop working, but at the moment it's still working. So same thing. This is actually an older level, which is respected. So one could check this one. Let's do one more. And it's 660.80. And then we have to do it like this. So we're gonna have two. So above that, so it undercuts and it didn't rally, but it could. And this one really low ADRs, I'm not going to trade it, but I'm interested to keep it just because it's the sector, building materials. So I'm interested in home builders and things like that. So I'm keeping this one. So normally I would delete this one, actually, but it did gap up. So it did show strength. It didn't close at the highs, but it did close more than 50%. So that's a good guide. Like I said, so let's go from here. So it's well above the 50%. So maybe, can we change it? No, I would like to have the quadrant line go from here to here. We can't do that. So I guess I would have to use the stupid fib. It's really bad in TC 2000. I really don't like it. So it is just at 50, pretty much undercuts 50, right? So I guess here you have to use the 50. then I like it to be 0. 25, 75. I want 75. Now I made it current line the way I would like to use it. Can I? Set this default. Okay. So it's about 50. So now we showed some things in earnings tools and earnings process. What else? Yeah, just trade it if you like it above the pivot, and sometimes it needs a bit of time, and often I found that they wait a bit, so other things come up, people forget it, and then they move it. Yeah, it's not. It's just how. It's not a they. It's just like the collective of the market. What else? Yeah. So this is a great one. So this is an older pivot that I created over here somewhere. Somewhere here. So one could actually have trade. I was almost trading this one, but I selected another one. So I tried to focus on the Friday open. So I decided to take another one. But I could have traded that above this pivot as well. So this is a pivot created from data on the left. I use that as a pivot, and I'm pretty good at finding pivot. I've observed how it works, so I'm just like, yeah, I'm pretty good at it. Just like this sounds really bad, but it's just a matter of fact. So I could have traded out just above with like a 1% stop or less, maybe 1%. So about here it's good. It didn't look back. So even if I go back to 5 minutes, this is not the open. This is oh, this is also 30 minutes. Oh yeah, sorry. Let's see how it looks. So it undercuts and then goes, and like it doesn't look back after it goes. So that's the pivot. So you can just buy here. We can even look down on the. Let's go to 3 minutes. What happened? No, it didn't. Sorry. Yeah, let's go to 1 minute. See if you could have gotten stopped out. Can you manage to get stopped out? Down. Let's say we buy here. So 11:30. So here. So let's see. Opens here. Goes all the way here, comes down to here. So let's say by 11:30. Okay, so from around here, it's difficult to hit it exactly in TC 2000. So then, with a 1% stop, you would have been in, but you would probably just put the stop here, right? So around 2%. 1.7%. And actually it's going to be 2% because you're not going to usually buy it exactly on the level unless you are a freak. I mean, I guess you can if you have like a ready, like you have a buy stop or whatever. But I do it manually with market orders. Yeah, I'm not trying to do the bid thing. Nothing against those who do, but it's not my style. So with 2% stop, which like maybe 2.5, you can have just give it some ADR in this type of stock. Like in the QQQ, you don't need to do that. So now I'm going to be all over the place. But in QQQ, you can like 0.1 or 0.2% is more than good enough. Like 0.2 is same as 2.5% for stock. That's how I look at it. So actually, let me see what else. Let's get back to buying the pivot. So you can also, if you are good at selecting the pivot, you can buy it as it undercuts and go through on day one as well in the best fundamental, like news fundamental stocks. That means you will have to be able to do that analysis. However, let's get back to this. So if you just duplicate this one and put it on the close 12:45. So this way, if you buy it day 2 and after, as it goes through this pivot, perhaps it comes up. It's a bit high now. Comes up, come back down. Maybe if it's not like if it's super strong, it's just going to continue. But it's pretty high up in the short term. I think it can actually go further because of how it, how much sideways it went in the lows here. So the Icarus level actually I think could be pushed up a bit than normal. So the Icarus level is like a high range where it's getting into the higher range where it's gonna get shot down, right? Like Icarus, the god that flew too high in the sky without humility. And just so buying here, you have to be able to take a chance or be good at analyzing the fundamental news or the news catalyst from a fundamental perspective, and also analyze the chart, how it looks. So this is a episodic pivot-ish stock. It's not really episodic pivot, but it's like in the family of that. Buyable gap up, let's say. Earnings gapper. Buyable earnings gapper. Some people call it power earnings gapper, I think. Anyhow, now I'm all over the place explaining this, but the point is day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever, as it goes above this pivot, you don't need to analyze the fundamentals. You just look for strength, right? And then you just buy here and then stop 1-2% below. And of course, if it's close to like here, maybe it's not going to continue straight up. Maybe it pulls back. That's the best case scenario. Maybe even hits this level again and then comes back up, then you buy it. And you can buy it weeks later as well. It really works. You can check it yourself from last earnings season. Anyhow, that's how to buy earnings in as a high volume close as a pivot. Anyhow, so that's the process for earnings, I guess. What else? So let me show you how to do that. Like this one is a bit high, so I wouldn't buy this one, but I'm going to mark the close anyways. So actually I'm just going to check the close, 689. I'm not going to do it for all of these now. I'll do it later, so you don't have to watch me do it. I wish there was a way to actually mark that in TC. There is in TradingView. You can make an indicator yourself. I guess you check if it's earnings day, make some type of line with a certain look, decide which time frames you want it to be seen, and just print it on the close of the earnings day. If it's maybe you can have some criteria that it needs to gap up this amount on an increasing volume or something. Not too specific. But no, so you don't get lines on every chart, unless you want to. Okay, so what else? What else? Yeah. So let me show you this one as well. So let me show you 116.83. I wish it would snap. Oh, I don't have snap on, so maybe that's why. Let me try that. Wait. But it didn't go there anyway. Yeah, the snapping doesn't work. How is that snap? Maybe the snap is only for like diagonal trend lines. I don't know. So if the close is on the bottom, you put it on the bottom. If it's on the top, you put it on the top. Not the high, not the low, the close. Okay? That's pretty much it, and I would do the same for, I already did this one. So this one is a good example. See, here's the 5 minutes. See, it goes below it in the open, which it often does, to the previous day VWAP, here, the blue, and then it goes up and doesn't look back. So you could buy it here with what's that? Let me see. I'm going to try to move this down here. So it's around, I can't see that. Wait. .62, so maybe 1% stop if you put it on low. Actually, you can even put it here in like a good earnings one, 0.5%. Maybe I would go less. If you experience, you already know this, so I'm not going to talk about that. But if you're not, maybe take maybe do 2% or 1% or the low. But you need to give it some room because it needs to be able to breathe. But they're gonna, if it's a good one, they're gonna compete to buy it, and that's why it moves straight up. The good ones will always go straight up. So if it's not a good one, maybe you don't even want to be in it. So let the stop decide, the tight stop decide if you want to be in it or not. So you buy here, you have a 1% stop, and it's up 3%, but it's probably going to continue, I think. But it's pretty high up, so it was lower down, it's going to continue. So, like, say around here. If it happened around here, it's just going to continue. Okay, now I need almost like, maybe I should pause it. No, you can't pause the stream. I need a breather. So, like, what can I do? Okay. So now go to the crazy scan. And I'm gonna take like maybe a 5-minute break. I don't know how to show a 5-minute countdown, but that's what I'm gonna do. Where's the time? There's no time here. Do we have a clock in Windows? Clock. This is cool. I like this. I like this app. Seem to have focus sessions. This is pretty good for trading. Oh, I really like that. I'm going to use this. I have like some, probably have HD, and it's getting worse as I get older. Anyhow, let's see. 5 minutes is a bit short, but let's go. Swedish strawberries. Okay, so this is OptiScan, high ADR. He only has 7, like, Qualimag inspired. The whole process is very Qualimag inspired, and Livermore inspired in some ways, and Wyckoff entries sometimes. Actually, also like almost Dan Sanger entries. What's this guy? The older guy, he's a really good trader who does flat breakouts. Like, wants to select stocks that have a really clear pivot, like that everyone can see. Some from him as well. Anyhow, this is the first criteria: liquidity. So minimum 17 million I found. I think Qualimag says $5 million per day. But I think that's not enough. You're gonna get caught in like really bad stocks. I think you can do, if you want, leave this off. I did add above 40 cents. Just to, cut out some noise. Sorry, the shares are nice, but I'm not gonna quit eating those. Anyhow, 11. So the idea is to not get too many hits. So maybe 40, 50 is good, and then maybe you find 10, 15 stocks to put on your list. maybe more, some maybe less. You can do as many as maybe 100, 200 if you are really fast going through them. I'm not, so I prefer to cut out the noise and have fewer hits. So I think 37 is a bit too low, so I'm gonna lower this one to 10. Now we're exporting also one there you go, so Friday. 55 is perfect. So then I sorted by previous day move. It looks like this. If you use TC2000, just take a screenshot and ask chat to give you the code. Anyhow, this previous move in percentage, and you can actually, like, sometimes you can ignore like the ones that move too much, but it doesn't really work if you want to trade the crazy ones like I do. So this one, like if we would change this one to 2 days ago, let me do that just for a second. It's still gonna be in here. It's gonna be at the top. Wait. No, sorry. That doesn't work. Okay, let's change this back. Just trust me, it was in the scan. And this one, like it's crazy stuff, but you can, if you can find a pivot, then you can trade it as it undercuts that pivot. Now, this one didn't, but that's one way to trade it. And then you can't scroll away from these crazy ones, because those are actually the ones you kind of want to enter on the pivot. At least for me. I don't recommend that for everyone, especially not new traders. Certainly not new traders. Maybe not risk-averse traders. Or not risk-averse traders, but people who can trade with control and are not risk-averse. Those that are typically called boom and bust traders. If they can have a lot of control in this entry and can like cut the stop or cut the trade if it stops out, and are so-called disciplined, or you actually have mind clarity why things work, and it's time tested. Then you probably know this, but then you can trade these, and how to is a pivot of some kind. And I would have preferred this pivot around 3, actually 2.99, and you could have almost gotten that in pre-market. You definitely got that in at the close in post market, but then it almost come down there in sorry, I don't know why I have a 321 line here, but yeah, I wonder why. That's interesting. Anyhow, you didn't get that chance in the open, but it did come down and then show strength, and that's where I bought it. And then you can sell like partial during the day. Like if it's gonna work instantly, and usually, and you can trail it. So I like the 30 minute, the 9 EMA. And so we're on this day here. Actually, that's all. open this one up. So a close below the 9 EMA or a level. So maybe 5 actually is not like might overcut. Can you call it overcut? Let's call it that. What do you why spring? What does it call? What do Wyckoff call them? Something, not push. I digress. If it goes above the 5, it can actually continue a bit more, but then it's probably not gonna continue if it already moved a distance. Like 70%. So you can close partial here, but I actually prefer, well, the 5 I probably would have done that, but I prefer to close below the 9 EMA on the 30 minutes. So 2 closes below, and we actually didn't get 1. So if we don't get 2 closes below, then I sell at the close, just before the close. So I would have sold half here. On this candle, maybe I would go down on like the 5 minutes or sell like somewhere around here. Okay, that's a simple process. 2 closes below the 9 EMA on the 30 minute, and then if not, you sell partial or half end of day. In these ones, I prefer selling at least 50% here, because they're a bit crazy, right? And even though, like this one does have a really good, it had news from NVIDIA, and I think it's going to continue, but you never know. Like can be a secondary, etc. But normally they move them more than 1 day, and that the shorts don't know that. Like some of them don't. They do the same with all stocks, and they're like, oh, it's too high, but it's going to continue for several days usually. So that's why you want to keep a partial, but you also want to sell some because the risk is high in this one. And that's pretty much it. And then I like to sell the rest, and then I actually move to the 65 SMA on the 30 minutes, which is the 5 daily SMA. And if that's like too far off, maybe you can use the 50 EMA. I think I have 54 here on the high. No, 52. That's a 4 daily high instead of close. So instead of the last, which is the close of the candle, we use high. So it's a 4 daily EMA high. And 52 on the 30 minutes. And you can use that as the trail if you want. You can also combine, like making it more complex. I wouldn't personally, but you could sell some on each of these. So I used 9, 20 and 52 EMA. You could use 50 actually. I do use 50 in TradingView. And actually I use the close in TradingView, not in high. You can use those and the 65 SMA. And you can sell a partial on a close below each. That's a way to do it, which like is a simple rule. If you want to peel in like more parts. I prefer not, because our costs in Sweden are so really expensive. I mean, it's really because we have both transaction for from Swedish kroner to dollars on each trade, as well as really high just transaction costs in general. So we don't want to sell too many parts. So I usually sell maybe in 3 to 4 parts, depending on how big size I have. And if I have a really big size, I can sell in 4 parts. If not, maybe even just 2. It's better to be able to sell in 3, 4, because then you can hold the last partial for way longer and get a really good R on that one, which can pay for a lot of losing trades. Anyhow, so now I went through selling, I guess, and also, did I go through buying? Yeah, one type of buying. And this was another one. So this is a simpler setup. You can just buy above here. In this case, it gapped up above there. So then you buy on the gap up. It's difficult to do, but not if you trust the process. This is an excellent buy here, so 5+ star for me. And there's another one I marked here. The green line here is my buy pivot. I didn't buy, I missed it because I was doing other crap, so I missed the best one. It's around 80-90% move into the 325 SMA, which is an important level. It's like 3/4, 65. That sounds wrong, but I think it is. It's just almost as good as the 200 for me. What else? Okay, so that's a different, that's another type, but similar. To me, it's similar. Some strength, some pullback, not too much pullback, buy the pivot. That's pretty much it. So there's one here. Let's see, we do here or the high of that close. So since it's so tight relatively to the other parts, so it's like a Kolmagi thing. We have shown strength here. We get a second entry area here. More volume coming in, showing strength. Tightness, you buy the pivot. That's a rinse repeat. That's it. And volume is important. More the better. And don't look at things that don't have huge volume. So there's one pivot here, and then you're gonna like, oh, it's gapping up, and then you buy it. Grab your balls and buy it. And then, like it's not looking back here, right? Where are we? This day. Like stocks like these, you can pretty much buy everywhere on the way up. Not too high, but like here. Like the question is, where can't you buy it, right? Okay, let's always inverse. So where can't you buy it? When it really made a really big move on the second day, gapping up and continuing, then maybe you can't buy it as it approaches the level to the left side. But if you would have, okay, what would have happened? Let's say we buy here, then let's take this off. Then you're gonna be minus 22%. That's not fun, but it's still within the normal range. So yeah, the answer to where can't you buy it might maybe on a huge extension, not the second day, getting into left side level. It's just like common sense, right? Up 108% or something, or more if you look from the gap. That's the inverse of where can you buy, where can't you buy. 127% up. Maybe you can't buy there to be in control, but pretty much anywhere else in the chart, like this is the same. Second day, we're up 7% into the VWAP and the whatever 89 EMA. Not really a level in a way, but it's just the VWAP from the year start, and 89 acts like a moving level. And the answer is maybe you shouldn't buy here as well, because then, let's say you buy it there, then you're minus something like 15-60%. That's not fun either. But the range is 19.9%, so maybe you just have to be able to have that, and maybe you do smaller size, or you get better at entries. It's a learning where you can improve gradually, and sometimes get even like you get a real tight entry right at the pivot, right at the right time. And I've seen myself being able to do that more and more, even though it's easy to fuck up, getting FOMO, etc. But just if you really know your stuff, if you have observed and studied, like there's no real FOMO anymore. FOMO is just frustration. So whenever you feel FOMO, you should know that you have a big knowledge or experience, and or probably both, gap, and a lack of understanding of some part of yourself or the market, and probably both. And then then it's your job to be the detective to find out what combination of gap you have. Anyhow, let's continue the inverse. Where can't you buy? Maybe you can't buy as it hits the 325 SMA at another level, pretty clear, like key level here. Like even if you would go on the week, where I used to draw key levels on the weekly, but now I don't draw key levels that much anymore. But the key level, let me see. I think I will draw it here. Yeah, look, that's exactly where it went. So key level is significant. But there's also the 325 floating level, right? We also hit the Icarus level even, yeah. Even though I think it can continue. What else? Yeah, so maybe the inverse of where can you buy is, like, where can't you buy is here. But in like the whole move, all other parts, except for those marked and in the neighboring area, you can buy. So why is that? That's a question for you. That's not true for any stock, but it's true for this one. Why? And that's for you to understand. The best stocks, the question is where can't you buy, not where can you buy. Of course, we have to use common sense and not act in FOMO. So that was another type of buy, and let's find more regular stock somewhere. So actually, sometimes it's better to go down in ADR to find a more regular setup. So this is a more regular setup, right? So it's still showing strength here. A few days. Post back on lower volume. Normally I don't look at it like this, but you can. More importantly, it finds support on a level. Now this one pulls back below the 5 and the 10 SMA. Actually, in this case, I have 8 EMA. Why do I have? I don't like that. I haven't changed that everywhere. Okay, so now let me save this. So that's fine. Okay, so it pulls back actually below the 10 and the 5. That means it's gonna at least hit the 20, 21, and or 50 and even further down. So if it comes down to the 20, usually it needs a few waves to break out. In this case, it didn't. So it crossed back into the moving averages, and also the 5 is crossing below the 10 and then shoots up above it a bit later. And it retests the pivot. Look how it held the year IPO here. Like it's like a floating level. You don't even have to draw a trend line. That's the best. And then it goes above it and retests it. So the entry here, if you're more advanced, is like a great entry, right? The undercut entry, right? Undercuts the IPO VWAP and then just goes 126%. And like if you buy here on the undercut, there's no looking back. It's just going. Why? Well, maybe you have to understand why, but the structure, including volume, gives you hints. And yeah, I'm almost like I'm sharing way too much here, but I think it's gonna take a lot to put this together anyways. And it's just also, if you want to talk VCP, we have like 1, 2, 3. So let's draw it like this. It's pretty clear. I don't draw levels like that, but like I just wanted to show you, because this one goes above, so it's more difficult to show, but let's draw it, therefore draw it like this, even like this. So we have 1, usually 3 ways, I count 3 ways, 1, 2, 3. It's usually 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. Like we saw in, like here you could see it as 1. But actually, if you look at the larger picture, it's 3. It trades really clean. That's a nuance you have to understand. What's clean? This is clean. The pullback is good enough. This is clean. So now try to observe that in different stocks, right? And it's not going to look the same in this one, because this is more like it's not an EP. It could be actually, but it's an EP family, let's call it that. Power gap up, Bible gap up on a catalyst. This is not going to look the same as, where are we? I forgot. This one? Because this is how that one was over here. But yeah, there's two versions, more or less. One like instant strength and volume, and one continuous strength and volume. Is that a good explanation? I think so. And in both cases, the institutions are competing for to buy this stock. Maybe not this one because the volume is not super high, but there's probably some institutional interest here as well, high on the risk curve. Let's see, can we find, what did I do over here? This is also clean, especially here. So you have to learn to find clean. Strength. This is strength. This is strength. Volume. Increasing volume. I mean, trading is much simpler than you think. Still very hard. This is clean. So is this. Even though pretty large pullback, but it's the VWAP. Like you just can't continue, like you can't just clear a level without pulling back. That's normal reaction. This is clean. Down, super clean down. Short term stock. This is also a bar setup, but it's helpful. So that's pretty difficult to draw. This is Everkush. What's that? Extra credits. No need to learn this, but it's good to understand the concept. So there's a downtrend line, a larger one, and then at the end you get a steeper downtrend line. This is called BARR setup or pattern. So then it just moves up. So you can trade it here or as it breaks above the DTL downtrend line. So why does this work? Because shorts get stuck, and also the price is great and something turns here. There's a turnaround. They go from 0.50 and they probably do something to get it above $1, so it can still be on the Nasdaq. If it's on the Nasdaq, I don't know if it is. But they have rules for it. So usually, often there's a stock split here as well. I don't think there is in this one. And it's down a lot. So now it's a bargain, right? But it's a real bargain. It's not just like a regular bargain. It's down a lot. Trade super clean here. It's like this is the top stock in the market. Like, I don't care what people say, that's just the truth. You can't show me another stock that is stronger. I think maybe there's one. I mean, this is the second strongest, or was, and this is also maybe was because it's below the 5. Anyhow, so the bar setup is like what happens here on the steep level. Shorts get overconfident, and actually we have a different setup here for other traders who are going to take the stock off the hands of these guys getting greedy in the short. They are pigs now, and they get what? Yeah, they get slaughtered, right? And that's the effect. This is the slaughter, 681%. This is $600 million. This orange one. So I traded the day before on the gap up, and that one had $147 million. It's tiny, right, in relation to this one, 6 billion. But if we go like this, this is huge, right? Let's go the one day before. This is also huge. Look at that volume. So we already have the interest, right? It's just huge volume here. And there's nothing like it before. Maybe here. Anyhow, so like you can't even see this part on the. I'm gonna delete this. You can't see it. Almost see it here, and so I buy on this day where we have 146 million because it has a setup. So the setup is first here, the green 180 above this pivot because we show strength. Now the volume, you can't see the volume, but we do have strength here. Then we get another setup below the year-to-date VWAP, the yellow line, as well as a level, very clear level here, 0.92 from over here, and as well as here. And then it gaps up. Of course it does, because it's a great setup here, 3-day setup, like we could do just a regular 3-bar setup here, 3 closes. In a faster stock you can do 3 closes, otherwise you do 5 or more. 3 closes here, that's the pivot level, it gaps up, you buy that gap up, if you know the things I know. And you don't know if it's gonna work, but it's probably gonna work. And yeah, no news. So how do I trade it? So another clue is intermarket. Open start working together with home builders, and it's a rate, like rates are important here. I guess the market is smart. They know this might work, and it's a bargain and a great risk reward here for all those factors combined: the technical setup, the fundamentals of the cross intermarkets, macro, just good risk reward. When a stock looks like this, I mean, it's not me buying this. It's someone with power. So yeah, that's, I don't know. This is not a regular setup. It's just like the strong version, and it's just similar to this. Almost like this. Where do we have? We had another one. Which one do we? Oh, this one. So this is similar. This just gaps up a lot, but this is quite similar to open, right? Also, we have this. I really like this one. People get stuck here, and like uncertainty is this death candle. People don't want to trade this candle right here, but actually uncertainty can be an edge, and also in this regard here. And yeah, it looks very similar. Not this part, but this looks very similar to this. It's just 2 variants of this. Anyhow, that's it. So what I would do is go through all of these and look for pivots and look for strength. So I like this one. It's not as good as the other ones, but maybe if pivot 0.52 or maybe 0.45, it's a good pivot. It did work this day. Here, it went up I had a 0.45 as the pivot then. So let me do like this because you can't click on a line in TC2000. It went up like 30% into this level. This level here is like a key level, and also 0.5, right? Anyhow, maybe a few more days. This is really interesting pivot. I know nothing about this stock except it says real estate services, and it has volume. So this one doesn't look quite similar to this part, right? This part looks similar to this part, very similar. Like up 1, 2, 3, 4 days in the shopping range. In this case, this one came down from there, reset, super clean, surfing the 5 and then the 20 and the 10, and then boom. Respecting the year-to-date VWAP, creating a perfect shelf level here, and then you buy the gap up. That's it. And let me see. I could show you this more regular setup, more of these. This would be a regular setup. It's showing strength here on increasing volume. It's coming up to a pretty clear level here, more VCP-like pattern. So maybe it needs 3 waves here if it's going to work. So we have wave 1. This is a cup and handle. Maybe the handle is large enough that it needs more waves because it's coming down below the 10 SMA, down to the 20, almost 20, showing some strength there at that level here, left side level. You could mark this if you want, like this is kind of like a key level. In my case, I don't mark kilos that much, but if I would, that's where I would kind of mark it for this in here, and maybe actually a bit lower, more like that. It's not perfect level, it's also over here. It's pretty good. So they're looking for the left side, the algos and traders in general. Pro traders know where the levels are, and they will look if there's interest when it comes down to the level or up to the level. Anyhow, maybe 2.5 to 3, 1, 2, 3. The pivot, high pivot is, let's say 8.55 or 8.78, and maybe even 8. The lower level could be 7.20, or the highest candle in the lower range here on the 30 minutes. So we'll look at 30 minutes. Find the, let me click. So in the lower level, which is this area here, oh sorry, let me take you up one level here. So this would be like, actually up here would be one box, but let's just do it like here to make it a bit clearer. So let's say this is the level we want to look at, because that's where price is at the moment. It could come down here for sure, but let's say we're trying to find the level in this here. So this is the range defined as a box. We're not going to include this part because that goes down in the other level. So we're going to do the highest, the top of the candle in the lowest part of the range. So the range is only within the yellow. So maybe this is the lowest candle, or maybe this is. This is the lowest candle. I think it's a bit higher in range, but let's mark that. So for me, I always mark that with a different color. I use this color, so I know. I think it's pretty high up because it's such a rangy candle. So one could perhaps also have one here on this candle, but I'm going to keep it here. So it's almost the same as 720. So now this would be, I'm going to delete this, buying in the lower range. So you can buy here in anticipation of a reversal, or just wait for it to come out and then buy as it pivots above. So you could have done that here. And if it comes down to here, you could do that again. So that's buying in the lower part of the range or waiting for the higher part of the range. This is mid, but also a secondary range here. So you could theoretically buy about 8.10 or 8.5, whatever, 8.8 as well. Because there's not huge volume here. Well, there's actually a pretty large volume there. So I think I would prefer for that reason to buy above here. So I'm gonna actually do something like this. So 8.73. So in this case, we would buy above here. Could be the best one, especially if the range gets continuously smaller as the waves come up here. So we have one wave, not two yet, 2 waves. Maybe it comes back, and then the third, maybe. Or you buy in here in anticipation of the last wave. So this is more regular, showing strength here. I'm increasing volume, more VCP style of cup and handle with a small VCP in the handle as well. That's a more regular type of breakout, and actually I prefer waiting for it to break above here. And there's some things here. This has pretty significant volume. So I would mark that close as well. And in this case, I think I would move it so I only see it on the lower time frames because it's already quite messy. Okay, so I think that's gonna be it, because it takes so long time to explain everything. But I will just go through all these and mark up the pivots. And then, if I have time on the weekends, I also go to the similar scan. It's almost the same. Actually, I should. I missed this one as well. 40 seconds. But this one is between 8 to 11 ADR% instead of above 11 or 10 as we left the last one. I think. This one gets 63 items, it's a bit low. So then we change this one to, actually we're going to change 8 to 850. This is better, around 48. We do these are not going to be like 50, 60, 80% like in the other scan, because the range is a bit, ADR is a bit lower. But these are going to be maybe easier for some traders, and we're also going to find like more real companies, even though this is like a small, we call it a sausage kiosk in Sweden. Like it has a revenue of like a small kiosk. well, market cap 10 billion. Anyhow, here we're gonna find SMR, which is a bit better, looks great, has a pivot. Sometimes there are fewer setups in like the really crazy small caps and mid caps and setups here, because money moves between different parts of the market. So it can be good to, if you have time, to also look at these, and these will have more regular setups. This one, I'm lucky, I'm glad I looked at it because I had it in my focus list, but I just deleted it. So this one's gonna come into, let me see, I think I'm gonna put it on focus, and now I can move down the pivot to the high, because this one's pretty tight, relatively speaking. 4, 5, 6%, and I was stopped out of this one. I want to buy it above 1370 or maybe even 14. And what one can do here is like you can start. Now I did something wrong. You can't go back in TC 2000, unfortunately. So I can stagger the alerts here if I want. So this one will get an alert here, and it's also green. Green means buy for me. I also might want to buy if it comes down and retest these two pivots. You see, this is the 20 SMA going there. It's difficult to see, but see how it undercuts that, and then it respects that also next day, and then we respect the 5. So I really like this setup. Either in the low range or the higher range, right? And that's pretty much, so I walk through these and find pivots. Here, the pivot was here for like several days, but now why not just move it up to above the high in this case? Before I always used the close, like a 5-day close, but I kind of prefer like nothing above, like clear sky, because if it goes, like it's just gonna go like here. Actually, once it clears here, that's when it goes. It does retest, but if you look here, this day, it's not really clearing this part. It's clearing this part. So that's why it's kind of stuck in a pulse candle. This is a great pivot candle. I just buy here 19-20%. Then we come all the way back on the bad day. There was a bad day here. This day, actually, I think. For the whole like growth stock, crazy stock market. They all came down here, like 10 to 20%, 15%, 12%, something like that. This one was down, what, 10, 11%. Anyhow, that's the pivot here. I mean, okay, so where's the pivot? That's like, one is like, what is strength? One question you need to answer. I showed you a lot of tricks here in this video. The other question is, where's the pivot? And what's a pivot to you? And when does a pivot really work? Like, there's a lot of small nuances in learning that, but those cheats and things, I used to do those. They work, but they're not as consistent and not as fast. So buying the low range or the high of the range is my tip, and that's stolen from David Paul. You can use Wyckoff ideas down here, and you can use Livermore ideas up here. He also used the lower pivot. Livermore did as well. And you should know this is a bit of extra information that not a lot of traders know, but like institutions, they have to communicate between each other. Like they say to the executing trader, like, we want you to buy risk in these types of sectors, whatever. You to buy risk in like science stuff that is working. And then they're like, okay, on that day, they might collectively say, where's the level? And when it comes to that level, it's like, then they decide, are we going to buy or sell? Like, this is not known, but among retail mostly, but it's a pretty significant insight. It comes from institutional commodity trading. They're going to decide, like, on that day if they want to buy or sell here. Maybe a day before, but usually, like, the better decision is not ahead, like months ahead or days ahead. The best decision, the most information is on that day, and as they have to communicate between a lot of people, it's going to be on the same day, not maybe the day ahead, but usually on the same day, because they need to communicate, right? So that's a good thing to know. So that means, what does that mean for us retail traders? Well, we can also wait for the levels. Don't fiddle in the middle. And that's the reason why. Okay, I'm going to stop this video. If you have questions, you can find me on Twitter. I think YouTube as well, on this handle. That's it.